There are many things in this game that I absolutely fucking love. There's many things I also fucking hate, and one of them used to be artillery, one of them used to be the matchmaker and stuff like this. But over the time, WarGaming have fixed, in my opinion, both of these things. I think the matchmaker is not only the best it's ever been, I think it's one of the best in a video game. I also think that artillery is spot on. It is a threat, it is dangerous, but if you know your map design very well, then you can outplay the artillery, and also I think they're not overpowered. I think they're annoying, a hindrance, and they are definitely beneficial to your team, but I do not think that they are such a benefit to your team that the opposing team's artillery becomes a massive pain in your fucking ass. But recently, since I've come back, WarGaming have done something in this game that has caused me not only great absolute pain and anguish, but is the single most annoying thing they have ever done in World of Tanks. And I am, of course, talking about the Japanese super heavies. These things are dicks. These things are fucking twats. I cannot tell you how much I hate the decision WarGaming did to make these a thing. Okay? They are just absolute cockmonglers. Now, there's a couple of reasons, and believe it or not, it's not its armor. A tank with insanely good armor is never a bad thing, because WarGaming are becoming very, very good, and have been very good, at making weak spots on tanks. As small or as large as they are there. You can always outplay a tank in some way. With the super heavies, they do have their weak spots. Now, their side armor and their frontal armor is still very, very, very strong. I mean, if you look at the Type 5 Heavy here, the back of the turret is 200 millimeters thick. That's pretty crazy, alright? But it's not their armor that pisses me off. I don't mind going up against a tank that has big badass armor. I know my gun penetration's value. I try and learn as fast as I can armor values and what's where and what angles, what is what. And with that information, I know that I need to either run the fuck away or shoot this point, this point, this point. And that's the great thing about World of Tanks. It's not so much learning muscle memory and things like that, like CSGO or a first-person shooter. It's more about understanding information and logging it in your brain for later on. Well, I come up against said tank, then, well, let's give a few examples, actually. If I come up against... Okay, let's go for a very, very, very iconic tank. If you are in the E100, right, this is a tank that is incredibly... That's not an E100, that's an E50. The E100, there, start again. There we go. The E100 is a very, very iconic tank. It is incredibly powerful when played with the right people. My friend Willet is an amazing, and Viperbo actually is amazing in these tanks, and it's a tank that I am now starting to work towards because of how I have seen them use them. What they're like in the meta right now, I don't know, but I understood that these tanks were very, very good tanks. Now, the frontal hull, the turret armor is 250, frontally, okay? That is really good. And the side is 120, not so good. Now, to counteract people shooting you in the side, what Willet used to do was angle his turret like this, which then increased the angle here, increasing the armor and making it a lot more bouncy. So he would shoot and angle his turret, and shoot and angle his turret, and that meant it gave people the less opportunity to, one, it increased the armor value of his front, and also increased the armor value of his side. And that is how he stopped people from penetrating him on the side of his turret. He was a good player, he played the tank well, he turned its weakness into advantage, and that is one of the reasons why I don't hate armor. A good skilled player could outplay you in this tank. But a good skilled player also knew how to penetrate the weak spots of this tank. It is a beast machine. It is a fantastic tank. It is a little bit mean and green, except it's grey. But a good player could play it well, and a good player could also counteract that. So when it comes down to what I'm trying to get at here is when it comes down to these tanks like the Type 5 heavies, armor doesn't matter, because you're a good player. You'll be able to counteract it. You'll be able to get around the back of it. You'll be able to shoot its back. You'll be able to find its weak spots wherever they are. I don't actually know the weak spots of this. I know, for instance, the weak. Just a heads up, guys. If you're facing the Oni tier 7, very beastie tank at tier 7 with its 200 turret armor, its 175 hull armor. If you're facing this guy frontally, some tanks can penetrate this little bit here. And this bit here. If you're angled at about this or a bit more, so like this, these parts here are weak spots. So if I'm in my IS-6 and this guy pops around a corner, I know that actually I can penetrate this part and this part because it's about 170. It's not 100%. The shot has to land pretty spot on, but I can get that. I can get that. So, we come along to my problem with these tanks and why I think they are so fucking annoying, a hindrance to the game, and World of Tanks, in my opinion, should just get rid of the whole fucking line and give someone a really nice premium tank. Honestly, that's what I believe. Give them this tank, balance it properly, stick it as a tier 8 premium, fuck it, give them 2 tier 8 premium, fuck it, make every single tank in this line a tier 8 premium. Don't care. Just, I fucking want this line removed. Now, the reason for that is its armament, English. If we go to the Type 5 Heavy, and you find a player using this gun here, which is the AP gun, 600 damage, 250 millimeters of penetration, 3.5 rounds per minute, a gun dispersion of 0.4, average damage per minute. I would say this gun at tier 10, from what I know, I mean, my tier knowledge is a little bit rough to say the least, but I would say this is a good or reasonably okay gun. Its fire rate is slow. Mediums can outdo that. Its penetration is good. Its damage is good. Its average damage per minute is good. Its gun dispersion, for the lack of a better word, is fucking shit. But again, this is a tank that's going to be in your face. You're not going to be sniping with this tank. Its aim time is good. Like, there's nothing, apart from the aiming, the accuracy, there's nothing bad about this gun. I have seen one person use this gun. Since I've been back to tanks, I've probably played up to about 400 to 600 games. Okay, I don't know it off the top of my head. And I have been trying to learn these tanks off the back of my head with websites like tanks.gg and stuff like this. I have been analysing armour values at different angles and trying to find weak spots and stuff like this from when I came up against them, because I find them really tough to play against. And the biggest problem is that they use this gun. And if they use this gun, I'll just bring up both the guns actually here, just to help. If they use this gun, which, in my opinion, a huge amount of people do, you have a okay rounds per minute, 3, whatever. An average penetration. Bear in mind, if you come up against tier 10 or tier 9 light tanks, you're going to be doing full. You're going to penetrate. If you come against backs of a lot of the medium tanks, you're going to penetrate. Okay, of 75. I think for a HE penetration, that's reasonable, I would say. Maybe a bit high. Maybe the 70 is a bit better. Gun dispersion, I think this is fair. Then the aim time is probably a little bit low. Maybe a 3.5. Maybe 3.25, 3.5. In my opinion, would be a bit better. But it's the fact that this damage with this penetration can cause consistent damage And more or less, there's nothing you can do about it because it's a HE cannon. It doesn't matter if you are angling an IS-7. Let's find it here. Absolutely spot on. Doesn't matter if you're angling this thing spot on. Doesn't matter if you've got a rock here covering up your lower glacis. You're spot on. So you get the maximum armor values out of your tanks here. Or you're getting a large amount of this covered up by a rock. So we can see is your really nice turret here of 240 plus armor. It's beautiful sloping. Like fuck all lower. Like look at these command hatches. They're ridiculously amazing. Doesn't matter. All he's going to do is he's going to sit there. And he's just going to fire a shot into you. And it fucking matter. Because it's a HE cannon. That, in conjunction with his armor, is fucking ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? I don't blame the people for fucking growing up to tier 10 and using the HE cannon on me. Because why the fuck wouldn't you? Like, you could sit there, an IS-7 versus a Type 4 heavy, or Type 5 heavy, and a moderately average player to maybe a little bit skilled might struggle with penetrating the front of it. But a absolute noob, if I gave my wife a Type 5 heavy and she ran into an IS-7 with a very good player, okay, the likelihood of the very good player winning is probably quite a lot. But she would do a monumental amount of damage by just looking at his face and clicking. And that's my problem. In my opinion, when you get to tier 9, the tanks, like the E100, should start becoming more and more skill based. The angling on something like the E75, we're going to go with our E100, E75, 75s here. The angling on these tanks is incredibly important. You only have 160 millimeters of hull armor. Okay? That's not a lot at tier 9. Okay? But then it's angled, so it increases, so it becomes even better. So it's pretty good. But it's still not good enough. So you have to learn to angle your tank. And at tier 9 and at tier 8, because the Tiger 2, the game starts to teach you these little bit more advanced mechanics of angling. Angling is important. You've got to angle. You've got to go around corners correctly. Stuff like this. You can't go around a corner flat and then angle. You've got to go around it angled. And this is what it starts teaching you. And that's great. And that gives you survivability to use the gun. This one here. I'll tell you what, we'll stick I don't actually have the turret on it anyway. But is this the right gun? Sorry, 1 second guys. That's the right gun. Using this gun with its reasonably low fire rate. Okay. You use your angling to increase your survivability, to increase your time in the battle, which then means you get more shots off, which means you get more damage off. Okay. And that's what the game teaches you. And then at tier 10 with the E100, the game's like, right, okay, you've learned how to angle your bottom half of your tank. You've got through the E75. You should know how to angle your tank, your lower half now. Similar thing with the E100. You've got that nailed, but now you need to start doing your turret as well. Okay? And it's led to friends of mine playing the E100 and being like, this is fucking shit. And then after 6 months being like, oh, wait a minute, I fucking get it. I fucking get it. This tank is actually amazing. And that's what I think tier 10 and tier 9 should all be about. Tier 6, 7 and 8, you're getting into the tanks. You're learning the mechanics, this sort of thing. Tier 9, oh fuck, right, I need to do this. Tier 10, oh shit, this is what splits the wheat from the chaff. This is what splits the good players from the bad players. This is what makes an average player a good player. Or an average player a bad player. It then becomes their knowledge of the tank they are playing. I also think this is a good balancing, because if the tier 10 tanks are better to play, or harder to play I should say, then it gives the tier 9 tanks a chance to outplay them because they're slightly easier to play. Now, why I say this is because there's nothing above tier 10. When you get to tier 10, it's an even playing field, and everything below you is worse than you, in theory. So, I know that's not quite the case, but in theory. So, what you got here is a case where you are playing a tier 10 tank. There's nothing above you. There's nothing you really seriously need to worry about, apart from maybe an overpowered tank, or maybe your lack of skill. But you're at the top of the game. You're the top of where you should be. So that means you need to then use your skill you've learnt from tiers 1 to 10 to put them into practice to play this tank well, so you can outplay the tier 9 tanks that don't maybe need to have as much skill to play them. That is what I think. That is why I think the game is one of the best things about this game. But as soon as you bring in a tank like the Type 5 Heavy, which you don't really need to learn how to play, in my opinion, because you load up your HE cannon, you've got pretty good armor, you've learned a little bit about angling, so you fucking stick the tank like this, you look at them and you blow the fucking heads off. And I think it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And I've just smacked my lamp. And with this line of tanks, they strip away everything that I feel like they've been pushing towards. And it fucking annoys me. So WarGaming, here's my letter to you. Please do something with these tanks. If you removed the HE cannon, that would be enough. I still wouldn't play them. I still wouldn't like them. But that would be enough. Because if they used this 250mm gun against me, and I was in my E100 and I angled my turret, they would then bounce. And I could outplay them. But at the moment, if they're carrying the HE cannon, which in my opinion everyone in a fucking Type 5 Heavy should do, and I came up in my E100 and I angled properly, they would still damage me. And as I was searching for weak points in the tank, they would fucking destroy me. If you get someone who's good at the game in this tank, God knows you're a dead man. But I really think you guys need to do something about this. Anyway guys, thanks for watching this video. I do appreciate it. If you did enjoy the video, please hit that subscribe button. There's more to come. Sorry for not uploading the last couple of days. It has been bloody busy at work, so I've been a little bit behind on the video schedules. Again, we're going to work Sunday. We're going to start refresh and go again this week. 7 videos a week, once a day. And I hope you did enjoy again. If you have, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that like button, and to stay tuned for more videos. Again, hit that notification bell if you haven't already to make sure you don't miss any of my videos, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Cheers guys, bye.